I was looking around on the internet today, and I happened to run across an interview of a fella who I was totally unfamiliar with. His name is Casey Neistat. He lives in New York. He's considers himself a video blogger. He puts a lot of stuff up on YouTube, apparently, which was not familiar with. And he's also apparently a filmmaker, and some of the credits he have is with Nike. He has provided some commercials for Nike. And apparently he's what you might consider successful in that he has 1 million views a day on his daily blog. And so in listening to him and this interview, which lasted probably a little over an hour, which was kind of unusual for me to sit and listen that long, one somebody I don't even know. But he does have a dynamic personality, and he does have a passion for what he's doing, and you can tell that he's got a pilot light in his gut on full. But anyway, at the end of the interview, the interviewer was asking him to leave some words of wisdom for the people watching. Did he have anything that he thought would be a good way to end the interview? And he said, sure. He said, here's something you can bite your teeth into. He said, a life not shared is not a life lived. A life not shared is not a life lived. Well, that kind of resonated with me, and I thought, wow, that kind of took me back a little bit. So I went on the internet to make sure that perhaps he hasn't lifted that phrase from somebody else, and I did find 2 other quotes out there that were close but not the exact same. One was by Albert Einstein, and Albert Einstein said, life isn't worth living unless it's lived for someone else. Not exactly the same thing. Steve Jobs had one that was relatively close. Life is about creating and living experiences that are worth sharing. Steve Jobs. But I still hung on to Casey's words. A life not shared is not a life lived. And it took me back to several years when I was living in Indianapolis, and I was driving west on 465. And for those of you that don't know about Indianapolis and 465, it's just nothing but a big circle that goes around the city. But I was westbound on the north side of town, and I was facing the sun. The sun was coming through my automobile windshield, and the clouds came across the sun in such a manner that made the sunset look absolutely gorgeous. And I couldn't get over how beautiful it was, but I was getting ready to make that western route. That circle that goes around Indianapolis has a nice, big, soft left-hand curve, and you kind of have to watch yourself as you go through it because it's a 2-laner, and there are people on your left or right. I happen to be on the outside lane because I wanted to see this sunset. So as I'm going through this, getting ready to go through this soft left-hand turn, I can't get over what a beautiful sunset this sun is tonight. And I say to the lady sitting next to me in the automobile, I say, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that the most beautiful sunset you've seen in a long time? Ever seen? In a long time, perhaps? And I got no response. And so I had to kind of watch my left-hand turn. I had to watch the traffic. I still didn't want to miss it. But as I got through the turn, the sun was behind me, and the trees blocked the view, and that particular moment was over. It was absolutely gorgeous. So I turned to the lady sitting next to me to try to figure out why she hadn't communicated with me, why she hadn't said something. I thought that was a great-looking sunset. The problem was there was nobody sitting in the seat next to me. So here's what I want to say to you. Casey's words today: a life not shared is not a life lived. And at that very moment, as I was going through that curve on 465, I realized what Casey said to me today. And I wanted to share it with you.